Why take on the burden of matters which you cannot answer for? You are only making unnecessary problems for yourself. Here's the thing, if you want to perform at a high level in life, in business, in anything, you need to take control of your emotions. And that's where this book comes in, Discourses by Epictetus. This is the foundation of mental control, which is basically Stoic philosophy. How to think, how to respond, how to act day by day. And we're going to be pulling this book apart, passage by passage, idea by idea. No, this is not some shallow book summary. This is a deep dive. Let's get into it. Reason is unique among the faculties assigned to us in being able to evaluate itself, what it is capable of, how valuable it is, in addition to passing judgment onto others. See, the Stoics believed that reason was the one thing that humans had that separated us from animals, that connected us with the universe, and gave us the power to take control of our lives. Being attached to many things, we are weighed down and dragged along with them. See, the Stoics and Epictetus believed that reason was the thing that connected us with the universe, and this is the only thing that we had control over, was our reason. And anytime we attached ourselves to external things, what happened was these things were pulling us down. Two elements are combined in our creation: the body, which we have in common with the beast, and reason and good judgment, which we share with the gods. So the Stoics and Epictetus believed there were two parts to our nature. We had reason, which connected us with the universe. This could potentially be our higher self, and with our lower self, which was our physical body, which was connected with that of animals. But ask me what the real in good man's case is, and I can only say that it is in the right kind of moral character. See, Epictetus believed that our character was the best thing that we need to work on each and every day. This is the good thing. But anyone who knows how the whole universe is administered knows that the first all-inclusive state is a government composed of God and man. So the belief was that the universe was made up of a government, and that government was God and man. He appreciates it as the source of the seeds of being, descending upon his father's father, to every creature born and bred on earth, in fact to rational beings in particular, since they alone are entitled by nature to govern alongside God, by virtue of being connected with him through reason. So why not call ourselves citizens of the world and children of God? Through our ability to reason, we were able to work alongside God to take control of our lives, but also to take control of shaping our environment. This is very powerful. Education should always be approached with this goal in mind. How can I personally follow the gods always? And how can I adapt to God's government and so be free? Freedom, you see, is having events go in accordance with our will, never contrary to it. There is a divine plan, and each individual within us has a purpose, and that purpose is part of God's plan, and our education should be aligned with that. And to the degree that we align our education with our purpose is going to be to the degree that we are free. Anytime we try and fight against our will of our purpose, we are going to be a slave. Getting an education means learning to bring our will in line with the way things happen, which is to say, as a rule of the universe arranged. See, getting an education is understanding how things play out and not fighting them. He arranged for there to be summer and winter, abundance and lack, virtue and vice, all such opposites meant for the harmony of the whole. And he gave us each a body and bodily parts, material belongings, family and friends. Education is understanding how the universe works and understanding our place in the universe and how we can prosper in this universe. You should thank the gods for making you strong enough to survive what you can control and only responsible for what you can. See, we can only control our reason, yes? Very, very powerful. The gods have released you from accountability from your parents, your siblings, your body. That's an interesting one. Your possessions, for death and for life itself. They made you responsible only for what is in your power. The proper use of impressions. What are impressions? Impressions are our judgments. It's our reason. It's our ability to think, the way that we see the world. So, why take on the burden of matters which you cannot answer for? You are only making unnecessary problems for yourself. This is the foundation of Stoic philosophy. What we can control are our impressions. What are our impressions? Our judgments. What are our judgments? The way that we see the world, the way that we see the things around us. And anytime we try and control things that are outside of this realm, what it's going to do is create a burden. It's going to create suffering. It's going to create challenge. It's going to create mental unease. This is important. Someone asked Epictetus how a person could be convinced that everything he did was supervised by God. Don't you believe, he answered, that all things are united as one? I do, the other said. Well, don't you think that there is an interaction between things on earth and things in heaven? Yes. How else, after all, could things take place with such regularity? As if God were issuing orders. When he tells the plants to bloom, they bloom. When he tells them to bear fruit, they bear fruit. When he tells them to ripen, they ripen. Similarly, when he tells them to drop their fruit, they shed their leaves, draw in, and lie dormant for the winter. All that they do too. How else explain the waxing and the waning of the moon? and the coming and the going of the sun coincide with such obvious changes and fluctuations here on Earth. Well, if plants and our bodies are so intimately linked to the world and its rhythms, won't the same be true of our minds, or more so? And if our minds are so intimately connected with God as to be divine sparks of His being, is He not going to perceive that every movement, since the parts in motion participate in His nature? There is this belief that God is within us. God is within each individual. And because we have the mind, our reason connects us with this universe, with God. God is within us and He's supervising us. The sun is capable of illuminating a large part of the universe, just leaving unlit the small shadow that the earth casts. Well, here is God who created the sun, which is minuscule in relation to the whole universe, and who still causes the sun to turn. Wouldn't you say He's in a good position to see everything that goes on? So there was this belief that this God, this grand organized design, was supervising this universe. Is anyone saying that your capabilities are equal to that of God's? Nevertheless, He has provided each of us with an individual guardian deity, which is a God, which stays by our side and is in charge of looking after us. A guardian who never sleeps and is impossible to distract. So this God lives within us all times. We don't need the light. Is there any guardian to whose care He could have committed us that is better or more vigilant? Whenever you close your doors and turn out your lights, remember, never say to yourself that you are alone. You are not. God is inside, and so is your private deity, and neither of them requires light to watch by you. So there is this belief, and when we go back to this Stoic Epictetus, this is 2,000 years ago, there was this belief that this God, this universe, this spirit resided within us. Very powerful stuff here. Someone asked Epictetus advice on how to get his brother to stop being on bad terms with him. Epictetus said, "Philosophy does not claim to secure for us anything outside of our control. Otherwise, it would be taking on matters that do not concern it. For as wood is a material to the carpenter, and marble that of the sculptor, so the subject matter of the art of life is the life of the self." See, there is this belief where, how can I get this other person to not worry about me? Well, it's not a matter of in my control, so don't worry about it. And again, anytime we try and worry about what another person thinks about us, this is what we're saying here, is we're going to create burden, we're going to create suffering, we're going to create challenges, because it's not within our element of control. Nothing important comes into being overnight. Even grapes or figs need time to ripen. If you say that you want a fig now, I'll tell you to be patient. First, you must allow the tree to flower, then to put forth the fruit, then you have to wait until the fruit is ripe. So, if the fruit of the fig tree is not brought into maturity instantly or in an hour, how do you expect the human mind to come to fruition so quickly and easily? Don't expect it, even if I were to personally tell you it's possible. So what he's saying here is that everything happens in its good time, and we can't force. Nature is perfect, the universe is perfect, everything unfolds perfectly. And so it is with your mind, with your consciousness, with your awareness. You will unfold perfectly as the time is right. Since reason is what analyzes and coordinates everything, it should not go itself unanalyzed. Then what will it be analyzed by? Obviously by itself or something different. Now, this something different must either be reason or something superior to reason, which is impossible since there is nothing superior to reason. The belief was our ability to think, to use our mind. Reason was the highest faculty of the individual, and there is nothing higher than our ability to think and use our mind with reason. Let's look at desire and impulse. You see, it's just the same. One impulse can only be overruled by another. What about if someone threatens me with death, though? Surely he compels me then. It isn't what you're threatened with, it's the fact that you prefer to do anything rather than die. It's your set of values that compels you. Will acting on will. Our values drive our behavior. And how values stem. So values are stemmed by things that we believe we lack. And when we believe we lack things, this lack creates our values, and these values drive our actions and our behaviors. This is important. Philosophers say that people are all guided by a single standard. When they assent to a thing, it is because they feel it must be true. When they dissent, it is because they feel something isn't true. And when they suspend judgment, it is because they feel that something is unclear. Similarly, they say that the case of the impulse, people feel that his object must be to their advantage, and that it is impossible to consider any one thing advantageous and desire something different, or to consider one thing right and have an impulse to do something else. If all of this is true, then what grounds do we have for being angry with anyone? We use labels like thief and robber in connection with them. What do these words mean? They merely signify that people are confused about what is good and what is bad. So we should be angry with them, or should we pity them instead? Show them where they go wrong and you'll find that they reform. But unless they see it, they are struck with nothing better than their usual opinion as their practical guide. See, when you understand this, that every individual is acting based upon their values, is acting upon what they believe is good. But until we show that individual another way and bring light to the darkness, we can't change them. But if we do this, we can change them for the better. Don't attach such value to your clothes and you won't get angry with the thief who takes them. Realize that the thief and the adulterer cannot touch what is yours, only what is common property everywhere and not under your control. If you make light of those things and ignore them, who is left to be angry with? As long as you honor material things, direct your anger at yourself rather than the thief or the adulterer. Don't attach value to your clothes, right? What he's saying here is the only thing we have control over is our reason and our impressions, our judgments, our perceptions, essentially. And any time that we're attaching to material objects, the only person that we can be frustrated with if we lose these is ourselves, because we attach value to something that is not within our control. We can't control our clothes, we can't control our body, we can't control all these other things. All we have control over is our mind, right? This is very deep work. Honestly, listen to this, and I want you to really soak this in. A man only loses what he has. A man only loses what he has, right? So anytime that you attach to things, these are things that can be lost. Loss and sorrow are only possible with respect to things we own. But the tyrant will chain. What will he chain? Your leg, he'll chop it off. What? Your head? What will he never chain or chop off? Is your integrity. That's the reason behind the ancient advice, know yourself. We should discipline ourselves in small things and from there progress to things of greater value. So what he's saying here is, they can take my body, they can take my arms, they can chain me, shackle me, throw me in jail, but the one thing they can't take is what is mine, which is my integrity. Know yourself. When someone is properly grounded in life, they shouldn't have to look outside themselves for approval. I believe it's called certainty. When you are certain within yourself, when you are grounded, you don't look for external validation. So often people look for external validation. But this validation is which keeps them attached to external things, which makes them suffer. This is really important. What does it mean to get an education? It means learning to apply natural preconceptions to particular cases as nature prescribes and distinguishing what is in our power from what is not. The operations of the will are in our powers. Not in our power are the body's parts, property, parents, siblings, children, country, or friends, right? The operations of our will are within our power. Our body, our siblings, our parents, these are not within our power. Can you understand that, right? Can you understand how deep he's going here? So not even our body is within our control, right? That is subject to the law of decay. Our body, our material body, will decay, but what still stays here? The belief was the mind. Reason connects us with the universe. This is very, very deep. The true man is revealed in difficult times. I love this because I believe when you put someone under deep stress, that shows who they are. If you think about Hell Week for the Navy SEALs, they spend a week in hell. And this reveals who they are when they are at breaking point. And that's where you get a true indication of who the individual is. No one has power over our principles. What are our principles? Our principles are the things that guide us through life. But no one has power over these besides us. These lie within our reason, within our mind. This then is the beginning of philosophy, an awareness of one's own mental fitness. So philosophy is understanding our mind. This is really important, our own mental fitness. The philosopher thinks. He doesn't sit on the sideline. He thinks about his thoughts and thinks about how he can get better. Passion stems from frustrated desire. Think about that. So what you're passionate about is something that you desire deeply. See, the passions are nothing but us pursuing the desires. The essence of good and evil consists in the condition of our character, and externals are the means by which our character finds its particular good and evil. It finds its good by not attaching value to the means. Correct judgments about externals make our character good, as perverse or distorted ones make it bad. So can you see here that our judgments based on the external situations make things good or bad? This is really important. If you want something good, get it from yourself. But you say, no, I'll get it from another. I say, no, get it from yourself. If a tyrant threatens me at court, I say, what is he threatening? If he says, I'll put you in chains, I say, he's threatening my hands and feet. If he says, I'll behead you, I say, he's threatening my neck. If he says, I'll throw you into prison, I say, he's threatening my entire body. If he threatens exile, I say the same. Well then, aren't you threatened even a little? If I feel that these things are not to me, then no. But if I fear for any of them, then yes, it is I am who am threatened. Who is there left for me to fear? And over what does he control? Not what is in my power, because no one controls it except myself. As for what is not in my power, in that I take no interest. Can you see here that Epictetus' fundamental belief was the only thing that he controlled over was his judgments, his impressions, his reason. And not even our physical body we have control over. This is what he's saying. If you understand that, not even our physical body we have control over. They can take his physical body, but the one thing they can't take is his mind. What else is freedom but the power to live our life the way we want? Nothing. Do you want to live life doing wrong? No. Therefore, no one doing wrong is free. So the freedom is the person that does right. What is right? The things that align with our character, our purpose, what is aligned with us. You can treat with confidence whatever lies outside the will, but must treat caution what lies within. What you see around you, you can treat it as a fact, let's say. But what lies within, we need to be mindful of, because that is going to dictate where you end up. You need to pay attention to what lies within your own will, because if we're not, we could end up in a place where we don't want to end up. Whenever externals are more important to you than your own integrity, then be prepared to serve them the remainder of your life. See, what he's saying here is anything outside of your integrity, if you find these things more important to you, then you become a slave to these things. This is very powerful. So pay attention to the externals, because if you are a slave to your externals, you're never going to be free. So in life, our first job is this: to divide and distinguish things into two categories. Externals I cannot control, but the choice I make with regard to them I do control. Where will I find good and bad? In me, in my choices. Don't ever speak of good or bad, advantage or harm, and so on, of anything that is not your responsibility. So through life, we need to be constantly evaluating what is in my control, what is not in my control. And what is not in my control, what I can control is my choice in relation to those control. And based upon that, we'll determine whether it's good or bad. Whenever I see a person suffering from nervousness, I think, well, what can he expect? If he had not set his sights on things outside of man's control, his nervousness would end at once. So what he's saying here is when he sees people that are nervous, they're frustrated, they've got anxiety, all these things are happening because people are focusing on the externals. They're not focusing on what they can control. But as soon as you get rid of the externals, focusing on the externals, what this person thinks about me, X, Y, Z, all of a sudden the nervousness disappears and then you start to be free. All our thoughts and behavior should be shaped on the divine model. They believe that the God was a grand organized design. This God, the universe had this grand plan, and all our thoughts should be on this grand plan. And where our place lies within this plan, it's our purpose, listening to our heart, listening to the voice within, getting rid of the bullshit voice on the outside, and pursuing our heart, because that is the closest we are going to get to the universe, to God, when we listen to our heart and do that of what we've been put on this planet to do. God save me from fools with little philosophy. No one is more difficult to reach. See, the philosopher is the person who thinks about himself, he thinks about his thoughts, thinks about the mind, right? But the person that doesn't even pay attention to their own thoughts, it's like talking to a child. There's no point. Every habit and faculty is formed and strengthened by our corresponding act. Walking makes you walk better, running makes you run better. What he's talking about is the ability to develop and form habits, right? Our habits are formed by doing the thing over and over again. I'm sitting here talking before you in front of the camera. Every time I speak in front of the camera, I'm getting more and more natural and more confident in front of the camera. If you want to get good at something, do it over and over again. As a general rule, nature designed the mind to assent to what is true, dissent from what is false, and suspend judgment in doubtful cases. See, as a general rule, our mind was designed to rise up to the highest level of our thinking, to the highest level of our being, recognizing our purpose and our connection with the universe, right? This is where our mind was designed to rise up to, and it descends away from anything that is not that. This is important. Just as we practice answering sophistic questions, so we should train impressions every day, as they implicitly pose their own questions. So and so sons died. The question, answer, since it's nothing he can control, it isn't bad. Can you hear that? Someone's son died, we can't control that, or it's not bad. So and so's father left his son nothing when he died. Not something the son can control, so it's not bad. Again, the father didn't leave him money when he passed away. Is that within the son's control? No, so it's not bad. Caesar condemned him. Outside of his control, not bad. He lamented these events. That is in control and bad. So again, if someone calls you out or calls you a name and you judge those events and you're upset with those events, well, it's bad because you're judging those situations. He withstood it like a man. That is in his control and good. Again, if an external is attacking you, there's nothing you can do about it. It's not within your control. It's not bad. But if you think it's bad, it will be so. If we make the habit of such analysis, we'll make progress because we'll never assent to anything unless it involves a cognitive impression. Paying attention to the judgments, the perceptions, the way that we see the world, and we're judging the things that are going on around us is going to enable us to suffer or to rise. This is very important. Remember that if you consort with someone covered in dirt, you can hardly avoid getting a little grimy yourself. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Who are your friends? Who are your acquaintances? Are they lifting you up or are they pulling you down? And again, this comes down to the mastermind. Develop the mastermind of the people that cause you to rise. Because if you're surrounding yourself with people that are dirty, you're gonna get a little bit of dirt on yourself too. The wand of Hermes promises that whatever you touch will turn to gold. For my part, I can say, bring what challenge you please and I will turn it to good account. Bring illness, death, poverty, slander, a judgment of death. They'll all be converted to advantage by the wand of Hermes. So Hermes Trismegistus, he was one of the old Egyptian gods or deities who was turned into a deity. And essentially he was an alchemist. An alchemist, they could turn metals into gold or they could change forms. And there was this belief that through using our reason, our judgments, our impressions, we can change a bad thing into a good thing. How does this benefit me? How does this serve me? So anytime we have a challenge or some suffering, we just look for the benefit in the situation. We look for the pro in the situation, and that causes the alchemist, that transmutes that one judgment into another judgment, which turns it from being bad into good. This is very powerful. To begin with then, you must purify your intellect by training your thoughts. My mind represents for me my medium, like the wood to the carpenter, or leather to the shoemaker. The goal in my case is a correct use of impressions. The body is irrelevant to me, as are its members. Death too, whether the whole body or part, can come when it likes. And exile? Where can they send me? Nowhere outside the world, since wherever I end up, the sun will be there. As with the moon and stars, there will be the dreams, birds of augury, and other means of staying in touch with the gods. See, if you see here, the only thing that we can control and the only thing they care about, these Stoics and Epictetus, is our reason, our ability to think and our choose, the way that we see the world around us. You can do anything to my body, you can do anything to anything around me, but you can't take what I have within, right? And this is very, very powerful. I absolutely love this, because if you want to rise, if you want to perform at the highest level in life, and this gives me goosebumps, we need to be able to have emotional regulation. And how do we do that? By recognizing what's within our control and what's not. Very powerful. Death signifies nothing more than the separation of the body and the soul. What the belief was that our body is only a vessel for the soul. So our soul lives for eons of time, right? But the soul implants at conception into the physical body, and the body is produced. The body lives for 100 years, then the body disintegrates and the soul returns to from where it came. This was the belief. The belief was that death is nothing but a separation of the soul and the body. And again, understand that your body is only a vessel for your soul in a moment in time. All our efforts must be directed towards an end, or we will act in vain. If it is not the right end, we will fail utterly. And what is the right end? Well, the belief is that there's this God, the grand organized design, which John DeMartini calls it the grand organized design, and I love that work, which is the universe. And the universe has a plan, the divine plan, and everybody has their place in this plan. And what is that place? Well, when we listen to the voice within, when we listen to our heart, when we listen to our intuition, which connects us with our soul, with the universe, and we act based upon that, that is going to give us the greatest end or the greatest fulfillment in life. So what is that? We work on our purpose. We have external voices from our family, our friends, our people going, you can't do that, you can't do that. But deep down inside, you know what you've been put on this planet to do. And only to the degree that you listen to that voice and pursue that, that is the right end. That is the work that one needs to do. Free is the person who lives as he wishes and cannot be coerced, impelled, or compelled, whose impulses cannot be thwarted, who always gets what he desires and has to experience what he would rather avoid. See, free is the person who is strong to himself and is not swayed by the other people. The person that is swayed by the other people is always going to be a slave to the other individual. Can you understand how powerful? This is all about mental control, all about mental training. Don't be surprised if so great a goal costs you many a sacrifice. For love of what they considered freedom of men have hanged themselves, have thrown themselves over cliffs, and whole cities have occasionally been destroyed. See, the goal that you're trying to pursue in life, what is it going to cost you? Because so many men will suffer in the pursuit of their goal. They will struggle in the pursuit of their goal. Recognize that if you want to go and pursue that goal, it may cost you something. Freedom is not achieved by satisfying desire, but by eliminating it. Work day and night to attain a liberated frame of mind. See, the Stoics, Epictetus, these guys believed that freedom was the ability to get rid of desire. Anytime we desire a thing, to that thing we become a slave. And if the individual wants to be free, which is at the base of Stoic philosophy, we need to get rid of our desires, because by getting rid of our desires, only then can we be free. You should be especially careful when associating with one of your former friends or acquaintances, not to sink to their level, otherwise you'll lose yourself. So choose either regain the love of your old friends by reverting to your former self, or remain better than you once were and forfeit their affection. And if you choose the latter, stick to it from there on out. Don't give into it a second thought, because no one who wavers will make progress. And if you are committed to making progress and ready to devote yourself to the effort, then give up everything else. See, in order for you to rise in the game of life, in order for you to perform at your highest heights, sometimes we need to let go of our former friends. But if you're hanging around your friends who are, let's call them drop kicks, are pulling you down, you're gonna constantly revert back to them. So we need to rise up. Sometimes you need to let go of those friends in order for you to rise up at the game of life. And that's where joining a mastermind or surrounding yourself with the right people is beneficial, because they're gonna elevate you, not deplete you. This is very important. If you forfeit an external possession, make sure to notice what you get in return. So when we relinquish the externals, pay attention to what you really get. And if you actually do that, what you understand is you get this centered, grounded calmness, this level of easiness within the body, this level of poise. It's very powerful. It is the general rule that externals of any kind, if we attach importance to them, make us a subject to somebody. Again, I just said that. The externals make us a slave to the other thing. Reading should serve the goal of attaining peace. And if it doesn't make you peaceful, what good is it? So what is going to make you peaceful? Working towards the end. What is the end? Working towards your purpose. So reading the books that align with what's more important to you. Just keep in mind the central questions. What is mine? What is not mine? What has been given to me? What does God want me to do or not do now? See the central question. What is mine and what is not mine? What can you control and what can't you control? What you can control are your impressions. What are your impressions? Your perceptions. What are your perceptions? Your judgments of the situation, the way you see the world around you, right? And everything that is not within that realm. The way you see the world is not within your control, not even your body. That is subject to decay over time, right? This is really important. The only thing that stays permanent is your mind, your soul, right? What does God want me to do or not do now? So what does he mean by this? What God wants you to do, the universe wants you to do, is to listen to the inner voice, which is your intuition, speaking to you through your soul, through your heart, getting rid of the external voices and pursuing your purpose, because that's going to rise humanity to the greatest heights. And then eventually we rise up enlightened beings as close as we can to the universe. Guys, thanks for watching this video. That was Discourses by Epictetus. This was a deep dive. This wasn't some shallow book summary. If you got value, smash like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you again in the next video.